do it completely from scratch. It will come out to be something like this. This is tried to scale it after a real hinge. 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches is the standard hinge size. There was a recording that did this, a tutorial, but they did a couple things wrong. And I have a couple things wrong in here too. I'm going to skip putting in dimensions. That's really easy to do later. The holes here are way too small. They're countersunk. We're going to fix that. The curve of the corner is a little too small. I'm going to fix that. And the way to approach this is to create one piece and duplicate it. Instead of creating a large piece and cutting things out, I think that's a very poor technique. We're going to create a section of the hinge right here, and before we curve it and drill a hole in it, we're going to duplicate it because this one has a hole in a different location, and we're also going to later on create this part in between them. This will be easy to stretch in between, but we're going to create this part, and we're not going to create one piece and then flip it. We're going to create 3 of these, flip one of them, which will become this piece on the other side of the hinge, and we'll drill the holes. Try to be as efficient as we can. So let's get started. I'm going to start completely from scratch. So, new, and I'm going to create I'm going to set my dimensions to be inches, precision of, let's go 3 decimal places, although I'm going to snap it at tenths of an inch. Does that sound right? Yeah, I think we can snap it at 1/10 of an inch. So it's not going to be perfect in English units, but tenths of an inches are easier to snap. I actually tried to snap to 1/32 of an inch, and it doesn't like that. Okay, so we have our units set. I guess I can leave that open. Alright, we can get rid of our friend here. And let's draw the base using the rectangle tool. I can type R. I'll start at 0, and since I'm going to go tenths, I'm going to make it, and because of the way the accuracies of curves and things are going, I'm going to actually scale it up by tenths. I'm going to go 10/10 of an inch wide by 350 long. And now I'm going to create the curve of the inner side of the hinge by first drawing a line, L, start there, and it's going to be 1 and, well, you know, the total width of the hinge as it's open is going to be 3.5 inches. So that would mean this height is going to be, it's going to be 1.5 inches, yeah, and then the round part of the hinge with a pin will be another 1/2 inch taking that up. So 150 high. Zoom out a bit. And the line is done. I can hit escape. And let's see here. No, that's going to be 175. Let's see if I can fix that. Let's do that again. That does go to the center. I remember now. I'm going to go 175. And twice of that will be 350. Oh, 175, 175, enter. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to center. That's going to become the center of the pin of the hinge, and then the overall length of the hinge will be 3.5. Okay, escape. Let's do a circle, C. Now the radius of this in tenths of an inch, it would be about, let's say about 1/10 of an inch radius. But since we multiply by 10, let's do 10. So there's my inner pin. Now let's zoom in on that. Notice when I zoom, I point to the position I'm zooming in on, and then I can shift, scroll, or pan that position. I'm going to draw a line, L. Oh, not L, not circle, L. And I'm going to end it there. And now I'm going to erase a few things with the E tool, eraser. Erase that line. And let's see, which of these lines should I can erase that line? Now I want to follow a line. I'm going to go ahead and erase this line now because I don't need that center. I'll come back later. I'll need that center to create the pin. But I don't like that curve right here, so I'm going to zoom in on that. And I want to create a curve between these two lines to make it a little smoother. So let's go to the curve. Notice in the curve there's multiple, oh, not that guy, multiple ways to make an arc. I'm going to try the simplest way. Let's try that. What should I do? Let's try that, and then come down to here and along that edge. Oh, it didn't work out. Let's try that again. Am I doing the right one? I think maybe let's try that one instead. There we go. That's the one I want. Right there. See how I get a tangent at the vertex? I'd like a tangent at the vertex. Click. Now, if I hadn't scaled this up, it would have not allowed me to do that. So I'm going to hit my eraser tool, and I'll get rid of these. This is going to be the line that my face will follow. Now, I just realized that, like I told you at the start, I want to make pieces. This is going to be 350 long initially, but I want to make this only 70 long initially because there's 5 sections to make it 3.5 inches. So 70 times 5 sections will get 350 total. So I'm going to follow this line with this face, but let's adjust that face here. See if I can do this. Actually, let's just redraw that rectangle. It's easier. So I'm just going to erase that rectangle. Let's do the selection tool, and then let's just erase that. And let's just redraw a 10 by 70 rectangle. Don't need extra lines laying around. So let's do a rectangle. Start there. Make it 10, 70, not 350. 370. Okay, now let's follow that face. This will become one section of our hinge. Using the Follow Me tool. Wonderful, powerful tool. I hit F. Oh, but that section is offset. I want the Follow Me. Select this face and drag up the line. Continue dragging, and look at that. We have a lovely Followed Me along that curve. Now that looks pretty good, but let's since we're going to be duplicating this piece, we can spend time on this piece. Let's fancy this up a bit. Let's round this corner a bit. Let's do that same arc tool. And let's do a little bit of an arc here. There. See, when it turns purple, I have a nice tangent. And now let's push this face to the other side. Push anywhere in that other edge point, and done. Nicely rounded. Let's do the same thing on that. First, draw an arc. Select that. That's a nice endpoint there. And now wait till I get to purple. Snap to the tangent. Oops. Click. And push that face all the way to the other end. There. They're a little nicer looking. Now I could chamfer other edges, but we'll worry about that later. So now I have a piece of a hinge that I'm going to be duplicating and then drilling holes in. Now, the best thing to do now is to select, triple click select, and group it. Uh-oh, there's a line in there that I don't want. I'm going to zoom in and get rid of it, and it will reduce the size of my object here. I can triple click. Yeah, there's that extra line hanging around. I can delete that line. There we go. Now my group is a reduced size. I can always come back here and adjust this just by double clicking on it, and I can make adjustments to this specific group. I could also make this a component, and wherever that component appears, if I ever edit it, that component will be changed everywhere. Now eventually this one is going to want to have a rounded edge, but the other ones aren't, so I'm not going to round the edge or drill any holes yet. I'm going to get my hinge pieces all produced. So I'll unclick that. Now what I want to do is I want to duplicate this. If I move it down 70, it'll be just connected to this one. I want to move it down another 70. to 140. So I select it as a group, type move, and the point, since I know I'm going this direction 140, it doesn't matter which point, but I make a habit of selecting corners when I'm moving. And now as I move it, it automatically wants to move along the edge. But if I want to duplicate rather than move it, I can hit the Control key. Now I'm moving it, and see how it's following the green axis? I like that. I could lock it to the green axis, or I could just say I'm happy it's following now. I can type 140 to be the distance it moves. Now I'm going to make another move on this guy just to practice my moving. Click. Start down this direction, Control key, so it's a duplicate, and another 140. And that's the other end of this hinge. We're going to fill these in very easily later, after drilling holes and things in this one. Now, let's get the other section of our hinge, and I guess we can, maybe we'll offset it this way so we can be duplicating those other parts as well, and then we'll rotate it. So let's go ahead and make the other section. I'll go ahead and select this one. Oh, I don't want that one. Escape. Let's select this one, move that corner, and Control. This is going to eventually be rotated around for the top. Actually, we're going to flip it 180 degrees for the other side of the hinge. So I'll move it out far enough so it doesn't get in my way. Click. And now let's move this one again, this direction 70. Okay, so that's the other hinge. We're going to also rotate this. Let's go ahead and rotate it now, and then we'll match this. Let's see. Now to rotate it, I want to be careful because I want to rotate it on the midpoint of the bottom part of this, so it actually will still fit when I slide it back over there. So let's go ahead and rotate this using the Q key. The rotation point is going to be that midpoint, but I want to make sure I'm choosing the right plane first. So let's lock it to, here we go, up arrow key locks it to that plane of rotation. I want to choose that midpoint on that face to be the rotation point. Click. This is my initial angle, and now click again to have rotated 180 degrees exactly on the midpoint. Now I can move this guy over, and it'll be matching that space there. So let's do another move. M. Click that point. Come this direction. Control key to duplicate, and it's going to move 140. There we go. Now I have the matching face of the hinge. Now I can easily come and fill the other remaining parts in. On this side, I will need to be drilling holes things in them. On this side, there are no holes needed to be drilled in these. But let's drill our holes now in these parts. Now, in order to drill holes, I have looked at hinges, and I've seen that they do need a little bit of clearance, and I might as well draw a line there. Do I have any reference points for a line? I don't want to draw a line across there. I guess I'm just going to have to pick a line to draw across. That'll become my reference line, and I need to make sure it follows all of them. So let's go ahead and draw a line, and let's pick some reasonable clearance. About there is probably pretty good, and it automatically wants to follow the green axis. Snap there. Now I want a midpoint reference, L, and come down here. This is just a reference line I'll be deleting later. This will be my reference point for my holes drilled. Now I realize the hole is going to be in the same location as this guy over here, so I'm going to get the hole drilled in this one and then duplicate this. I'll be deleting this guy. So now what I need to do is have a reference for where the hole is here. It's going to be 3/4 of the way here. So let's select this line and divide it into 4 sections and type 4. Now you can't tell, but if I hover along there, I'll see when I go to draw a circle, see that it will discover, hey, there's an endpoint there. Now this is where I was making the circles too small. I'm going to make the main inner drill hole. Let's see. Let's make it And it looks like about 10 tenths of an inch. Does that sound right? The 10th of an inch. That looks about right. Let's go 10. Okay, that's the hole. Now this guy here, I need a similar guide to be basically centered. Oh, I did that wrong. This one is 3/4 inch down. This one is in the center. There's a there, and at 10. That's that hole. This one needs to be 3/4 inch down. So let's go ahead and draw another reference line across here. And let's see, I need another reference line from the midpoint up to there. That'll be my center for that hole. This one is out, this one is halfway. So let's do that circle. C out at 10. Okay, now let's get rid of the extra lines, and then we'll do our we'll push that through, and we'll also countersink it. So stop drawing lines. Let's go ahead and select and start erasing some extra lines. So I forgot, this one doesn't need to be here. Let's erase lines first. Then when we erase the circle, it'll be one click. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Just the line. Erase some reference lines. If you don't erase the reference lines, when you push a circle, your circle will actually have sections, and I don't like sections. This one, that's right, we don't want this circle here. Let's delete that line. Oh, and I just realized I drew the circle on the group. I want this circle to be part of the group. It's easy to forget that. I'm on the group. I'll leave that line there for now, because I'm going to be pulling that section in between. Alright, let's go ahead and let's delete the lines first, and then we'll drill the circle. Drill the hole. Okay, so we're here. We want this to be a hole drilled in this object. But remember, this is an object. I'm going to explode that. Now, when I push this circle through, then I will regroup this into its own group, just because I like groups. It doesn't have to be a group now. But remember, this is 10 across. I don't want it to go exactly 10 if I'm going to countersink. Well, so I'm going to actually push this twice. I'm going to click, and push it in this direction. Let's go 8. And now I'm going to push it the rest of the way. There's another 2 left. But I'm going to control and push, so it actually pushes a new surface, because this is going to be the reference point for the end of the countersink. So I'll push that direction 2 this time. And now if I rotate around, I should see how the hole went all the way to the other end. And the advantage here is now I can delete that face, and now I have a hole, but I have an extra reference point. It's 2/10 or 0.2 tenths in the final thing. Now what I want to do is countersink this. Now, so what I want to do is actually scale this circle, right? Not that face. I want to scale that circle, but I want it scaled around the center. Control key now makes the scaling I choose to scale around the center, and watch what happens as I click and scale this. Now it's hard to tell when I'm at 45 degrees, but we can estimate that looks like it's snapping to what seems like a good 45 degrees. So I'm going to stop right there. Now let's see, that looks pretty well countersunk. Let's do that again over here on this one. First, I'm going to push this face. Oh, wait a minute. I haven't exploded this group. Forgot to explode. Let's make sure we do our explode. Now, let's push that face this direction, 8. 8. And now, push it another 2. Oh, and see, since I did do the plus, it's not leaving one behind. So let's hit Control and push it another 2 in that direction. Now we can start deleting faces by selecting. and I should see that extra edge there. Very important to have that extra edge. Now let's select that circle and do a scale S, Control to center the scaling, and drag the corner out, and look at that, it snaps nicely what looks like the 45-degree countersink. Okay. Now this piece here, if I flip it, is what I want over here. So let's go ahead and see if I can duplicate that piece to fill it here. Then I will have saved me time from having to drill another hole. Let's see if we can do that. In order to break this thing up, remember I've exploded it. To break this up into two parts, this be one part and this be another part I can duplicate. Let's go ahead and draw lines around there, I think, or I could do a rectangle. Let's do lines. And let's see. Now let's see if I can select this, and let's make that a group, because this will be handy to put over here. Well, this whole thing will be duplicated over to there, and then this piece I can put to the other side of the hinge and rotate it. So let's see if I can do that. First of all, select. Let's try. Let's see here, if I do this just right, I should get that piece selected and see if I can make it a group. Look at that. Let's go ahead and group that. And now, let's see, did it do the right thing? Let's see what happens. I may have grabbed too much. Let's try that again. Let's go back and explode that. Let's try grouping just the right stuff here. Try that. Let's group that. Group. That looks a little better. Oh, that's the reference line. That had me fooled. Alright, so let's go ahead and move that over here, and then we'll flip it. Then we'll flip it. So let's do M. Click that corner right there. Control key, so I'm making a duplicate of it, and have it jump right there. And now we're going to rotate this guy. Let's do a Q on the midpoint right there, along that x-axis, and look at that. I've got that end ready to go. Now I can move this down to here. Let's go ahead and do another move, and we'll select this corner, and this is a good time, Control, because I want that corner to match exactly there. Look at that. I've got that piece there. Alright, now I'm just about done. I think I'll just move that and remove the hole. It's easy to remove a hole. Watch how easy this is. Select that M, select that corner, Control key, match that endpoint. And let's go ahead and select, and let's see, explode. And now we want to delete that hole just by deleting that circle. And let's go to the other end, the other side of it, and select that circle and delete. Now to be thorough, you could delete that inner circle first, just so you don't have extra things left on the inside. Look at how easy it is to delete a circle. Alright, now I want this. Oh, I forgot about that hole. Let's do the same thing. I forgot about that. Let's go ahead and delete that. I forgot that we want to duplicate this guy because he has a hole drilled for us already. I want to exactly match the hole. So let's go ahead and do our line references along the edge. Now if I want to group that, I have to be very careful to not select the wrong things. Get rid of that line there. Let's be careful exactly what we group. There we go. And make that a group. And now, zoom out a little bit. Let's get rid of a few extra lines here. Let's go ahead and select that and move, and we will choose that corner, Control key, match that corner. Now let's rotate it with the Q, choose that midpoint, x-axis, and rotate around on the x-axis. There we go. And now we have our faces. Okay. This basically is a duplicate of this, so I can select that and delete it. And let's go ahead and make this whole thing a group and move that down the y-axis, is it? 140. So I'll move any point there along the y-axis, Control key, and 140. Is it 140? That's 140. I guess it would be 350. Oh, 280. There we go. Alright, now we need a solid rectangle in between those. So I can make duplicate of this, move it over here, and then remove the hole. Well, we'll move it over here, remove a hole, and then move it again. So select that. Oh, I forgot to group it. Let's group. Oh, it is group. Let's try that. Let's do a move. And move this way, and Control key. I'll exactly move it to there. Let's now remove the hole. Triple click. Remove the little circle. Let's move that circle there. We'll remove. Let's remove that circle, and then let's remove that circle. There we go. I can do it all from one side. Select, move, click, Control, match there. Alright, so I have a lovely hinge. This part we can always slide over and rotate around. Let's chamfer our edges now. And I think I want 1/2 inch radius. So let's mark our, actually let's do half the radius, whatever the midpoint is. Let's see, how am I going to know how far that is? Well, I know it's 35. I suppose I could do a 35 long line, and that would be the center point of my radius. Let's do that. Now, the reason I'm making these marks is because the way I need to do the chamfering or the rounding of that corner. So let's do a line, midpoint, and I know I need to come up 35. That's half the width of that little section, 35. Now let's do a arc, and this arc I'm using this version because I figured out that's the easiest way to get a nice radius. And now I can use the push tool, push that surface. Oh, forgot to explode this part. There, now push the surface. Oh, let's try that again. Thought I had exploded. There we go. Didn't know why. Alright, now let's pushing this surface. There we go. And I can push it to that end, and that rounds that corner. Isn't that lovely? But I have to get rid of those extra lines. They just were my reference lines. Now I tried using a tape measure. Oh, I don't want to remove that line. That will. If I accidentally delete that line, looks what happens. I lose that surface. I don't want to delete that line. I do want to delete that line. Let's do that same thing down here. Oh, zoom out a little bit. As I rotate around, I get a good view of it. Now, let's do that same thing over here. So, L, Well, let's try the tape measure. Watch what happens. I think actually, since I'm using the endpoint, tape measure will work. T for tape measure. Start at the midpoint. Come up 35. There. And now I have a little point there that I can use for reference. Now it doesn't leave a line there, but it still leaves the annoying measurement line around, which I really don't want. So let's do an arc. Again, the pie-shaped arc. There's our center. There's the start of the arc. There's the end of the arc. And again, I forgot to explode that, so explode. Oh, that's right, I had to explode twice, remember, because it had a group and then the top hinge part was also a group. Now let's explode that again. Now I can push that face through to the other side, and now I can come back and delete lines. So it still leaves that line there, but my reference point is now a tape measure point instead of a line. I can click on that there and delete the tape measure reference point. Rounded corners. Now to make these faces one, I can come here now, I can select the entire thing and make sure to explode that whole thing. And now I can come in here and delete these individual lines, and this becomes one part. Don't have the annoying lines. And I can get rid of lots of lines. If you leave them, it's not going to break it, but to clean it up, you can clean out these extra. Remember, don't want to delete those. Clean out some extra just ended up being reference lines. Oops, and I look lovely. And if I want, I can paint this part. Let's make it a group first, and then we'll paint it. So let's select it all. Oops. And let's make it a group. And I can even make it a component now. And if I make it a component and use it somewhere else, if I ever modify it, wherever I'm using it will be modified. Now the holes are a little better. I think it's a little thicker than an actual real hinge. But let's go ahead and paint that a nice lovely color. Yellow. Now let's do the same thing for this one. Before I forget, let's go ahead and explode that whole thing so I can go ahead and round the corners without that. So let's explode. It looks like it's all exploded. Alright. Now let's go ahead and round the corners. I need my little reference line up 35. That endpoint is going to be the reference for my rounded corner. Push that face through to that end and come back and remove lines. And while I'm in the business of removing lines, on my way down, oops, let's go ahead and draw a line for my reference. Uh-oh, made a mistake. Oh, looks like it's remembering that midpoint. Oh, that's right, it is broken into pieces. Let's go up 35. That becomes my center for my arc. Start straight down. And push that face through to there. And delete a few things. And we'll regroup that part. Oops. Check for any extra lines. Let's get rid of these extra lines. This is a realistic hinge. Let's go ahead and group this part here. Oh, got a few extra lines here. Clean it up. Well, we'd like to have a decent cleanup here. Alright, I think we got extra lines. Okay, let's select that. Group it. Color it. Ah, isn't that a lovely hinge? Now let's bring them together and draw. Well, actually, let's draw our pin, and then we will bring them together. Now, in order to draw the pin, I need a center point here. So let's draw a line, and I can make a line across the center of that. Now I'll draw a circle, and I need to make sure it is on the green axis. Click for my center, and I'll come out to that edge. And let's get rid of that line. And now let's push that face through to that end and pull this face out a bit to make the top of this pin. Now let's go ahead and make another circle on the center of that circle. I need the center, there we go, and out, oops, and out to that edge. And now we'll push that face in a little bit for the head of my pin. And now select a few lines to delete. Triple click. Let's group that. And let's color that. We'll make that. Let's see what color. We got a blue and red. Let's do blue. And let's rotate around here and shorten our pin a little bit, sticking out a little too far. Let's push that face. I'll have to select that. I guess I have to triple click on it first. There we go. Now let's push that face, shorten that pin a little bit. Okay, and click off of that. Alright, let's bring them together and then rotate the hinge. So I can select any point. I want to move something. I'm going to move that one. That's the point I'm going to move. It's going to be on edge over here. Click. Now I want to rotate that. Well, let's do a Q. Oh, it's already chosen the green axis. Let's rotate around the center of that pin. There we go. And no, I don't want to rotate the pin. I want to rotate this guy. Let's rotate him. Oh, maybe I have to have him selected to know for him to rotate. Huh? Let's do that. Select, rotate, and now the center of that. And I can choose any starting angle. And now, there we go. Now we're rotating him around. And we have a realistic hinge. I think much better than cutting out pieces. It is to scale, and I think much better matches what a real hinge looks like. And how long did that take? Oh, about half hour. Twice as long as the experts. But there you have it.